the idea of personal self. Their self is very social. It's very community orientated. It's defined by who my family is, who my community is, and of course they, ingest Vajrayana with the mother's milk. So Buddhism is a part of their on a cellular level. So when they compared Han Chinese with Tibetans, just during rest, the Han Chinese showed the same default mode network being active during rest, that sort of individualistic self, but this network was not active in Tibetans. So, and those are lay Tibetans; those are not monks. So, yes, thank you. It's a very good question.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure, of course.
You plotting the brain activity of novice meditators or laymen against those against the brain activity of expert meditators, and they were given a certain task, and the task, I understand, is you're just flashing numbers, and they have to differentiate between odd and even numbers. To me, this is like a fairly light task. I would say.
Yep.
Right. So if you has there been any study of people, who are engaged in very intense activities, like say Wall Street traders, for example? You are looking at your portfolio and then stock market and all that stuff, and if you don't pay attention, you can lose your shirt, basically.
Sure.
Right. So
Again, very good question. And in this study, I deliberately gave people very easy task, and I'll explain why. I wanted to engage their attention just enough, right, on a simple task, but also when we engaged in a relatively simple task, if we're not mindfulness practitioners, our monkey mind can work at the same time, right? And we start having all sorts of intrusive thoughts, and it doesn't necessarily impair our performance in the task. So I wanted to see what in novices, whether that monkey mind will be running alongside the intention networks, and that's what we see, but not in meditators. But if you give them a hard task to do, like in this first study I showed, that one. They were engaged in a much harder task, which required a lot of attention. Mm-hmm. So in that case, in expert meditators, there's top-down attentional networks that are engaged when we need to maintain focus without distraction. They were more active than in novices, right? So in expert meditators, we have the flexibility. So when the task demands it, we can bring it up. When we don't have to, it doesn't have to run and eat up the energy. Yeah? So that flexibility of switching and using exactly what we need, depending on the context, that's developed in expert meditators. But in most of us who are not so fortunate, we cannot switch out of this default state, or if we used to paying attention, like we have a very intense, challenging job, we often find it difficult to switch out of that mode as well, and we're very tense and focused even when we don't have to. So it's having that adaptability, that flexibility to switch between different states that also brought about by long-term practice. Yes, yeah, or that, yeah. Thank you.
We still have 3 more minutes, so if anyone has more questions, please, you can make your question.
Sometimes we think in the negative, and then we get from our body, and we get air from our shoulder, up one part of the body. We get hot, and then that become red, and then that's very too hot about our head and our brain. And maybe I think this is concerned with the dynamic of the brain, or is concerned with or not. And another thing, when we feel anxiety, and then sometimes we also get the mind disorder, and then sometimes I got one time that I attend the class without get the topic of the title of that class, and I don't know how to join with the class, and then I don't know whatever they talk in the class. So that thing, I think this is a concern with the brain or not. I would like to hear with the dynamic of brain from your comment. Thank you.
Can you? I didn't quite get the question. So
That part, two part of the question. And when we think in negative, and sometimes we feel very hot, and then
right, the heat.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we think in negative, then this network here in the middle, I want you to actually do a little experiment, because usually experienced practitioners can feel it straight away. So I know you don't normally, well, just don't close your eyes like you would do when you're doing Vipassana practice, but do sort of just open awareness, dropping into mindfulness of the senses. Just hearing the sounds, being aware of the body, just whatever comes in, yeah? Just mindfully aware of the senses. And then become aware of the moment when a gross thought comes. Or if no thoughts come, just generate a negative thought. And observe how the energy changes, where it goes, what the sensation is. When you go from the state of sort of open awareness into grasping at a negative thought. Can anyone describe what that feels like? Any observations? So your mind went to the noise, yeah. Okay.
My mind is certainly sticking to the noise.
So you felt your mind went grasped at the noise. But if you had a negative thought, so if your mind wasn't grasping at a sound, if instead you generated a thought, oh, this lecture is so boring, I just wanted to stop.
Yeah.
Where would that go?
I just would like to remove them.
During the exercise, first, because I have a very tired body for the last few weeks, and I was resting my mind on the tiredness of the body. I could see some tension, and then as I started connecting with them, then the relaxation starts setting in, so I became relaxed. Then I started thinking about something negative that I have encountered recently. Then you can see in a very quick blood flow and
yeah. But it's interesting when I did this exercise once at a doctrine retreat. It was interesting how many people said that they felt the tension. It's like the energy was opening up, and then it's like collapsed. When there is a growth thought, it's like collapsing in the middle of the head. And for more experienced practitioners, it's the heart. So the first subtle body, subtle sensations, when we grasp at something, it sort of felt here or felt there. And I think when the shoulders tighten up, when this sort of energy starts trapped in the middle of the body, and the worry, that immediately produces what we call flight or fight response. Yes, when we become vigilant, it's kind of the survival. And the negative thinking of that default mode network, the negative thought activates that flight or fight response. So we kind of clench, and that generates the heat in the body because the system becomes mobilized for action. Yes. And the second question, I think, was about the lecture, right? So my recommendation would be that when you arrive late at the lecture next time and you don't know the title, that you try and activate your outside areas just to be attentive just from the moment you came, rather than being stuck in the default mode network trying to figure out what the lecture is about and maybe beating yourself up for being late. So you'll give yourself better chance of catching up with the lecture if you just open up your auditory sense and allow your conceptual mind to absorb. Because, yeah, we get caught up in trying to understand too hard. I think effort, conceptual effort, is the enemy of understanding.
And hello, I am a student of the Technology University, and as I'm a teenager, I want to explain meditation. Can we move in objects, from place to another by meditation, or how to energize our body by meditation?
How to energize
yeah.
our bodies.
without eating or without drinking.
Maybe a little bit of drinking and eating is still necessary because we still have our bodies.
Yes.
So we need mindfulness of the body. But as I was saying during my lecture, that default mode network that ruminates a lot, when we don't use that very much, when we meditate, that releases a lot of energy in the body. Yeah. And that's why we don't need to eat as much or sleep as much.
Yeah, I heard that, in the Lucy movie, right? In Lucy movie, can a person use, their brain to 100%?
To 100%?
100%.
You see, it was a very popularized notion. Nobody knows where it came from, that we only use 10% of our brain and that we need to use 100%. It's based on a false premise. We do, depending on what we do, or on what we engage with, we'll use different parts of our brain. It's not like some parts of our brain are never used. They're always used, but just in different configurations, right? So different networks, different areas come together and organize themselves differently depending on what they're doing. So, and as you can see from experienced practitioners, they're actually not using more of their brain, they're using less. So I think a lot of thought content that our minds create, when our mind is out of control, when our mind is not trained, that eats a lot of brain energy and activates the brain beyond what it needs to do. So actually, when we're mindful of what we're doing, whether it is Wall Street trading or making that beautiful bamboo Buddha, whatever we're doing, if we only activate those parts of the brain that we absolutely need to, it actually enhances our general state of energy and well-being than aiming to use all of our brain. Yeah. Actually, that's not very economical. And we don't need to use, like if I'm sitting, I don't need to use the parts of the brain for walking. What would be the point, right? Yeah. But what I need my brain to do is to have the flexibility and the quick shifting from one condition to another condition and dropping when I don't need things. Like if I'm sitting down, I don't still need to walk. If I'm meditating and I don't need to write an essay, I don't need to use my conceptual mind. So it's that being able to switch off what we don't need, that's what releases the energy, not other way around. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Will that make us more productive and creative? Has there been any study that shows concretely that can make white-collar workers, for example,
Yes, I think we over time. I would be very happy to have those discussions after the lectures. No, I mean it. So if you want to come and discuss more, I'll be very happy to share my knowledge. Thank you very much for your interest.
Thank you very much for interesting questions and answers. So, if anyone still have more questions, please, you can talk in person when we finish our program. And this is a time for presenting the certificate to our lecturer. We will present certificate of appreciation and presents to Dr. Elena Antonova. So I would like to request Dr. Elena kindly to go or to stay in front of the stage and wait to receive the certificate of appreciation from our. Okay. So let me invite Usaila Win, a former Minister of Municipal Affairs of Shan State, to present the certificate of appreciation and present to the speaker, to our speaker. Please lead us by saying to after assistant. Okay, sir. Thank you, Dr. Elena Antonova, for enlightening lecture. You have brought us much knowledge, and we are very much appreciating your contribution today. I'm sure from now on, we will be looking at our own heritage in the Shan State with fresh eyes. We do hope that this will not be your last lecture here. We would like to learn from you much more in the future. Once again, thanks for lecturing us. To keep going on, the next lecturer is Venerable Bandawa. So I would like to welcome him to come and present your paper. Please come to the stage. Before starting the academic lecture, please allow me to introduce Venerable Bandawa to you first. Venerable Bandawa is from Namsang or Namsan, Shan State, Myanmar. He finished his Bachelor of Art and Master of Art at MCU Nakhon Ratchasima. Now he is PhD candidate at MCU Wang Noi, Ayutthaya, Thailand. He used to be a lecturer in Mahapasabadi Buddhist College, Pak Thong Chai District, Nakhon Ratchasima, Thailand. So, Venerable Sir, you have 45 minutes for presenting, including question and answer. Now, the stage is yours. You can start your presentation now.
Good afternoon, Venerable Sangha and ladies and gentlemen. May I respect to Venerable Sasha Sukam. My topic is Buddhist effective leadership based on integration of conditions of welfare for a nation in Pali, Aparihaniya Dhamma, and 7 habit theory. the concept, condition of welfare for a nation, and 7 habit theory are popular, the popular law of leadership. The condition of welfare for a nation is the Eastern concept was taught by the Buddha over 2,560 years ago. The 7 habits theory is Western theory was synthesized by Stephen R. Covey about 73 years ago, but they still can be applied and relevant to the present world. So last year I went to Sri Lanka for SSBU teaching staff training. I bought this book, about 7 habit theory. The name is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So this book was sold over 25 million copies. So this book is popular. I'm trying to search why the book, why this book is popular. So I read this book again and again. So I discover because this book including many teaching in different religions. So also in Buddhism too. In Buddhism, he applying the Eightfold Noble Truths to solve problem. So this and another also including Islam teaching also. There's synergy in when we see world religion, we can see Islam very united. They have organized strong organization. There's OIC. Everyone maybe know that's OIC. So they have synergy, teamwork. So and OIC, including member maybe 57 countries. So of the United Nations, OIC is the biggest one. It the biggest organization, the second biggest organization in the world. So there is the concept of Islam also in this book. And another about Taoism from China. This book also mentions about Taoism. The outline of Taoism is nature and soft power. Nature is, in our mind we have hatred nature, greedy nature, and ignorant nature, loving kindness nature, etc. So, and another one is soft power. So soft power is loving kindness. Loving kindness compared to water. Water is soft. Water can flow under the earth and under the mountain. Strong iron and stone, very hard, very strong, but easily broken. So there is this book including Taoism concept. And another famous religion in China, they is called Confucius. The outline of Confucianism is trust and respect. Trust from the honest from morality. So this way includes Taoism. Respect. If someone have morality and knowledge. People will respect him. There's the outline of Confucius. And when I live in southern Thailand, Hat Yai, I study at Mahapanya College. There we have chance to learn world religion. Our lecturer from Yala, the complete area, southern Thailand, he taught up about how Islam very united. He said that if Islam people pay homage to the God individually, they got 3 rewards. When they respect, pay homage to the God in group, they will get 27 rewards. So this concept make Islam people very strong, you know. And another one also I have learned about Christian from Chad. He is brother in Chad. He said the outline of Christian is loving kindness. So this book also describes about loving kindness. That's why this book popular. I have been sold over 25 million copies. So, we come to the concept of Buddhist leadership. That's if a person carry out benefit of the people, so people will respect, they will admire him. Whatever he say, people want to follow him. Then they become the leader of a community. So the Buddha also interested his disciple. So Sarata Phikkhave Sarikam Pahusana Hitaya Pahusana Sukhaya Lokanu Kamaya Athaya Hitaya Sukhaya Deva Manusanam is me. Monk walk on the top for the presence of the many people, happiness of the many people, all compassion for the world, for welfare, for the blessing, benefit of happiness, Deva, gods and men. This concept based on compassion. When leader have compassion, so he can lead people, he supporting it very well. Another outline of Buddhist leadership. When Buddha, what about going to Nibbana, attain Nibbana? Buddha said, is the teacher instruction bit has it Ananta is may be that you waiting. The teacher instruction base has sit now. We have no teacher. It should not be seen like this. Ananda, for what I have taught, explain to you at Dhamma and this spring, where be your teacher after my passing, after I attain Nibbana. So when we practice according to the Dhamma and Vinaya, Dhamma it means teaching, Vinaya it means rule. When we follow the teaching and rule, we have teacher forever. So, and next we go to the four virtues of leadership in Buddhism. this quality of leaders. One leader should have wisdom power, effort power,